Hello and welcome to the Avant-Garde YouTube channel. Today's video is a part of the PsynOpticz week that we are busy hosting here at AVG. And if you're not exactly sure who PsynOpticz is, that's kind of the whole point of this week. We are busy showcasing one of the powerhouses of South African psychedelic music, PsynOpticz Records. If you'd like to check out the rest of the PsynOpticz week content, please do check out our website at avantgardeza.com. But other than that, please do enjoy this video interview with head label boss Calvin, also known as SwiTcHcaChe. Hello ladies and gentlemen, my name is Vincent Bailey and welcome to the AVG podcast. Today we are joined by PsynOpticz label boss Calvin, also known as SwiTcHcaChe. How are you doing today?
Yeah, good, thanks. And you, Vincent?
Very good, thank you, my brother. I find that your story of your come up to where you are now is quite inspiring. So let's start at the beginning. What music do you think got you into listening to trance?
Sure. I went through quite a varied history of music, but I think I pretty much got into hard house, drum and bass, breaks, that kind of scene before I got into psy-trance. And then I had some friends introduce me to psy, and I've always liked the harder elements of music, whether it be heavy metal, rock, drum and bass, but I like the harder drum and bass, same as breaks, psychedelic breaks. And then psy-trance has just kind of intertwined all of the harder styles with elements of, back then it was also elements of rock and that kind of styles in it as well. So really enjoyed it and just kind of took it from there.
Okay, so it's pretty much your friends getting into something you've already kind of heard about, but getting more into it.
Yeah,
okay.
Exactly.
What type of artists were you originally listening to?
First ones was GMS, No Rules, and SCuzzy Animal. Those are the first two albums. And Converting Vegetarians, Infected Mushroom, and BP Empire. Yeah, those are the first ones. 2002 was the first year.
Good place to start on your psy career.
Yeah.
And from there, you want to start hosting events. What are your fondest memories of hosting those first few indoor events?
Sure. So the first one we did was in London, and it was literally just a few mates that were DJs. We found a club that wanted to host a party. It was a small club, not like a dance club. Had a little DJ booth, and we're like, cool, let's do it. And a friend of mine, Michelle, she played breaks. I played psy-trance. Another friend played drum and bass as well. It was like a mixed night, but yeah, it was awesome. It just stemmed from that. And then kind of got to South Africa in halfway through 2005, through my first event in 2006, which actually was a house party. Wow. But we printed flyers, handed out notices to the neighbors, within a 3-block radius. Got massive speakers in and blasted till 6 the next morning. Had no complaints, nothing.
Wow.
And I had a killer time. It was just mates, and then just started doing small events. Started SwiTcHcaChe actually. Was our first one where we booked Tune Raider and a couple other locals, Terabyte as well, and myself and Silo. And just kind of stemmed from that and then looked into clubs. Yeah.
And from your move over from the UK to South Africa, what is the difference in genres? Obviously you mentioned some drum and bass, which is quite popular there, but is there a big difference in tastes of music over there compared to here?
I think when I was there was many clubs open. A lot of them actually closed down now, especially the psychedelic trance side of it. It was more the commercial stuff that stayed open. But when I went to a party, there was 5 or 6 dance floors on the major pretty much every weekend, which was crazy. So we were seeing big techno guys, big drum and bass guys, big chill outs, psy-trance, and it was an amalgamation of styles, an amalgamation of different people. It was awesome. So I was exposed to everything, and I enjoyed all those genres. So to going to an event like that every weekend and seeing massive internationals every single weekend, with a good variety of different genres, I love that, So I really enjoyed that. All the genres are here. Things like breaks never really took off here. I liked breaks, psychedelic breaks. We even started a Sunday sessions here at Vesper Cafe, which is up on Kloof-Nek. Did that every second Sunday doing psychedelic breaks. Never took off, but we had a good job.
Yeah, you had a good job while it was happening.
Yeah, but some genres didn't take off here, some did. I think it's just more cosmopolitan. There are many nationalities traveling through, and just a lot more people with accessible cash to do things, and a lot more people to quantify bigger events all the time.
And talking about genres and just music in general, there seems to be a definite rise in the newer type of prog, progressive trance, the kind of louder, almost less psychedelic, more mainstream, whereas the nighttime psy is more of an entire experience and a journey as a whole. So what's your take on the dark psy versus prog scene and music, or maybe the harder, faster music compared to the more proggy music?
I think that's, I don't know, with regards to the prog scene, that's kind of spanned from psy-trance prog to EDM. Like there's like quite a grey line there, grey area there. But I think that people that like that music also like journeys. Like some of that doesn't have much of a journey for me. Some people it does. I tend to go with the more nighttime psychedelic because, like you say, the journey that it has there, the direction, the intensity of the music. But I've always been into harder styles. So I battle a little bit with the prog stuff, like capturing my creativity and my energy. But I think in Cape Town it has taken off, but I think because it's that connection with easy listening, just fun party style, just not thinking, have a good jaw. And with the nighttime, it's a lot of people just want to experience like a mind-altering experience, whether it's the drugs they're taking in association with the music, or like I did many parties for many years, like not doing anything, hardly drinking, hardly doing any drugs, and enjoying the music. And nighttime I found took you on that journey, and the energy levels went from a certain point and picked up. With the progressive, I find that the energy levels kind of stay the same majority of the time. A lot of stuff it's all about big build up, big breaks, big bass drops, and the nighttime psychedelics just about driving and going and getting in the groove and that hypnotic experience.
And taking it more back to the present day, PsynOpticz started as an events company in Cape Town, or in London, as you've said, but it eventually changed into a record label, which I think that most people would find very interesting. How did the progression go from events or an events company to a records label?
So I was doing events for quite a while, and I was signing artists locally and a couple of international guys as well. I always wanted to be a record label, but just never took that jump. Then I partnered with Nick Greater in Johannesburg, and he owns Technotribe. We created a label called psy-tech Records, and he had the distribution already sorted through his distribution agency, and I pretty much sourced like most of the releases for the label, built that connection with artists, understood how to run the label and everything through that. And then I was like, okay, well, now I've done this. Now I know all these portals, the connections, how to do it. And I always wanted to do it for myself and release. Like psy-tech was a very broad spectrum label. We went from like progressive to super psychedelic. There was no like distinct style, but psy-tech meant like the study of psy. Like it wasn't just like one style. So I wanted to release something that I was more passionate about and distinguishes myself with my label. So I opened up PsynOpticz as a label, kept it as a production house, but just changed it to PsynOpticz Records instead of PsynOpticz Productions. And then we just started signing more artists and putting more effort into releasing and slowly distinguishing ourselves from everyone else and developing our own signature style. In the beginning, I was releasing artists that were on my label and that I was passionate about. And in the last 1.5 to 2 years, I've like altered my DJing style and what tracks I want to play, what artists I want to play. And that's led to me altering the label style to become more definitive, because I was releasing also a little bit more of a wider spectrum, but I wasn't playing the music. I love the music, great production, killer tunes, but I just didn't play it. And I want to release music that I'm playing and also build a DJ base and a producer base on the label that are like working within that style spectrum as well. And I think I'm accomplishing that now, and I'm playing almost all of our releases now, which is great. You know, I want to be able to play what I'm putting out and feel passionate about what I'm doing. And now the label is there, and it's actually feeling like I've got a better response from doing that with regards to sales, people talking about the label, interaction with us, and from artists contacting us wanting to release with us. That has increased since I decided that more focus. Yeah. Okay. So I'm happy that I chose that. You know, I still love so many styles of psychedelic, but I just need to keep myself focused, you know, because I think I would want to do this, I want to do that, maybe just start like another label and do that, but then it's too much work. I just focus one.
It's a tough one because there are so many subcategories of psychedelic music. PsynOpticz is kind of a more hard than dark nighttime music, but if you could try, how would you describe the style of PsynOpticz music?
It's like we vary the releases a bit. So I've got two styles that I kind of stick within. Is night full on, middle groove. So it's between like, it's like daytime elements with nighttime groove, nighttime bass line, nighttime synthesizers with the daytime elements, you know. And then we go into the nighttime psychedelic, which is like 148 to 152 BPM, like super driving psychedelic stuff. So I've still wanted to have a little bit of variance in that, but like say we stick from like 144 to 152 BPM, and I want that nighttime influence, which I notice a lot of the daytime artists are even putting into their music now as well. So it sounds like the daytime is becoming a little more nighttime influence, and that's why I think the nighttime's got even more and more psychedelic. Is like we've got to compensate. Like these guys are getting harder, so we've got to get even harder. But yeah, so it's like a middle ground between the two.
Yeah, I like that. It is a very nice genre, kind of to merge the two, between the prog and maybe the very dark stuff. Just a nice in-betweener. And obviously we are in a crazy age with COVID and everything that's happening in the world, but what's it like to manage a record label during this time?
It's been the same for
Pretty
me.
much the same.
Yeah, like
I suppose also because lots of your artists are international, so it wouldn't.
Yeah, and in the end of the day, like it's all digital now, so we don't print CDs. I've kept everything digital. So we are just sourcing music, getting it mastered, creating good designs, getting done. I do the video animation editing for the promo videos, and then also all the social media strategy. So all of that is based in this office or online. So nothing's really changed, you know. I've spoken to some label owners and they say that the times of sales have gone down a bit, but I've noticed that streaming has gone up. People obviously listening to more music. Some of the sales have gone up. So I think people are still, now they're at home, you know, they're listening, they're looking for music, and yeah, so I've just carried on. Some of the labels, like I said, I was speaking to, they've pulled back on releases, but I just want to put out tunes. And a lot of guys in this time, producers are sitting home and they're just making tunes, and they're like, I want to get my music out still. And some guys don't, they want to hold it because there's bookings in Europe aren't happening, so they were like, I want to hold my music rather than release it later. But I think people still want to build collection. Streaming is, as you've noticed, there's a million guys streaming stuff, so I think people are still sourcing music to play sets and go the full-on digital age now. So yeah, I've actually put more effort into it now, maybe because if I keep on pushing through this, that when things do go back to normal, that the recognition of the label has grown and people are more familiar and aware of us because we've been pushing through this, you know.
Was there any jump from physical to digital when you started the label, or has it always been online, more digital?
Yeah, I've always been digital. Okay. Even with the previous label, psy-tech, always digital. We just looked at cost of CDs and distribution and what we'd be getting from it and what people are paying for CDs nowadays and how many CDs you would sell. Like, I spoke to other big artists and CDs, and if you, for instance, Alien Code, one of our artists in Brazil, he would print his own CDs, and then every single gig he'd go and sell CDs and give them out, you know. Then it's like a digital, it's like a business card, you know. pretty much that's what it is. When you make an album, that's like your business card as an artist. And I think it's more beneficial for them to have that than for us to put sales and distribute them worldwide, and hopefully they sell or not, like I'd rather just go digital. I don't have anything that plays a CD anymore. I have like a portable CD drive that I plug in if someone gives me a CD or from some old software for my keyboard or something. But everything is now digital. So like one of our artists, DJ Ana Valeriano in Brazil, sorry to struggle with her surname, she's putting compilations together and looking to put it onto USB sticks, like that's probably a better way of doing it, and then handing it out to friends and promoters, and doing it that way, and then creating a unique flash stick, which is cool. And it just fits in your pocket. And then it's the like I moved from vinyl to CD to digital, not having CDs, and like vinyl from a travel case to CDs when I had like 200 CDs and like thing. Now it's like flash stick in your pocket, all your tunes.
It's kind of the merging of physical and digital together.
Yeah, exactly.
It's really cool, and it is a great way to advertise what you actually do as an artist. As you said, it's like the artist's business card. But
the crazy thing as well, man, like just hopping on the vinyl situation there, Saturday Night Live, for instance, does interviews with artists and so on, commercial artists. They come on and they were saying like they use vinyls when they promote an artist. They have the vinyl, and they say, like, I think it was Sony actually opened a vinyl press, more of their vinyl pressing manufacturing warehouses, because vinyl sales have skyrocketed. So it's like people want to go back, like fashion circles, people go back to vinyl now. So maybe, I don't know, like a lot of DJs are also going back to vinyl. Psy-trance not so much, since Psy-trance wasn't so much on the vinyl age, moved more into CDs when it became bigger. But techno and that's still big on vinyl, drum and bass.
And it's always cool for a fan of an artist to get a vinyl of whatever the person's music is and put it on their wall or somewhere, show support. And as you've been mentioning, you have some international artists signed to the label as well. Do you find that it's more difficult to work with people when they're not in your immediate area, or you can't see them face to face, or would it maybe easier, or what's your experience like with that?
And like everything's gone digital, so it's I connect even with my local artists. Everyone's busy with work and their lives and that, so we have a Brian connect with a synoptic artist locally, or go to events and have a jolt with each other. But in the end, like most of my guys, we just have video calls every couple of weeks and catch up, and how their personal lives going, how their production's going, and just touch base as mates. Because I like to feel like it's a family, that we have, and having that personal connection is important. So we just, even with my designer, we like put the laptops open and we just talk cuck while we're doing work. It's like, oh yeah, cool, check this out. Like, so, and he's living in the UK. So, I think it's just making that effort to connect, whether it be like WhatsApp voice notes or video calls or whatever, So I don't think it's hindered any way that you run the business.
Okay. Interesting. It's crazy how the digital age makes things not so inaccessible anymore.
You can basically be a hermit and run your entire company, So like you don't have to see people, or which is kind of
internet connection.
It's just an internet connection, Like and when they're gonna put holograms on, you can go play your gigs from home and be on a stage in another country.
That'll be the day.
Yeah.
I've even been seeing people have been doing the whole drive-in party thing now, and like I understand for like a musical artist, but like a drive-in jol, I don't know how that would work. But I mean,
I don't know how many O's jol in their cars at trance parties.
Obviously, in the music, there are lots of different samples and references to psychedelic culture. But what does the term psychedelic mean for you?
Psychedelic for me, it's like merging of audio and visual. I think that's always been my inspiration for when I've created my events, to how important those aspects are. When I was going to events, I was always inspired by the artworks, especially when video mapping came out as well, like that just took everything to the next level. You don't need LSD to trip. You've got like mad visuals going on the stage on top of amazing artwork by artists. And obviously sound quality, creating that immersive experience, you know. So psychedelic is definitely a merge of those two things for me, very important aspects that I think brought me into the scene more than anything. Going to a party and feeling that there was this immersive experience, you know. Definitely made a step up from techno parties, from drum and bass parties where it was like a strobe light or simple decor. So those are the two capturing elements for me for sure.
Okay. And do you find within psychedelic music that there is the spirituality aspect, but do you subscribe to the spirituality aspect, or is it more just for the music and the visual?
I do, but I think I'm on a middle ground. Like I'm definitely a spiritual person, but I'm not like I don't seek it. I kind of live life by going with the flow, and where things are meant to be, they happen, and you put your energy into things. So I think my connection to spirituality on that side of things, yes, but I don't, maybe I haven't delved too deep into it, or questioned myself or what I think of it, or where I'm going with my life about it. So I think I've just been like absorbing what's around me, and what happens kind of thing. So I definitely agree with that there's spirituality, and I do love that side of the scene, because that shows also everyone's caring and aware and understanding, and that stands out for me. Maybe that was also very inviting for me into the scene, you know.
And because it's constantly changing and evolving, you must be kind of looking out for new music quite often. How do you find new music, not only as part of SwiTcHcaChe to maybe sign the person, but also when listening to music? What usually draws you in? Is it just the general quality of it? Or?
Yeah, quality of production for sure. But then I also, like, we found a producer now. He's like 21, 22, Lante in Argentina. He's a youngster. His music's insane. He introduced me to another friend of his, Nerism, youngster, like 19, 20 or something. Music's mad, but his production techniques are good, but not like
at the level
asterisks, you know. But like it's good. But you also look out for what his storyline is, how he's created the track, like how's his mixing, you know, his levels and his ideas that are going in, how they're flowing, and all those things like can tell you like if this guy got a natural talent, like even it may not sound the best as in production style, but he could have amazing ideas, and he's a hard worker, and he's going to find all these techniques to fix his mixing and his production. So yeah, I think it's a whole lot of different things that you look for that could influence where this artist is going, you know, and what he's going to be doing. You know, so I'm always open ears. Like I tell people on the label, send music in. I'm always open ears. If it doesn't suit the label, I tell them it doesn't suit the label style. Good luck, find a home for it. So I'm sure you're going to find a home for it. But if it is, then I say, cool, let's do a release, or if it's not good enough to release, I'm saying I really like your stuff, but let's give us some reverts and let's go from there, and show me like new tracks and see your techniques. Working with a couple of artists now like that, and it's really cool. Like they're just so inspired by the music, and that's what I love about artists as well. Like they're just inspired to make something that captures them, and
especially the younger, newer people to the scene, they have all that passion.
Yeah, all that energy and passion for sure. Yeah.
And you will be seeing a whole lot more of the SwiTcHcaChe family and all the artists signed to them here on AVG on our website, with music reviews and interviews and articles coming out very soon. But what are some things that we can expect from SwiTcHcaChe in the coming months?
Sure.
If you want to get your list, you can.
Yeah, I'll try to remember it from the interview with Bruce. So we've got quite a few EPs coming out. We just had Synesthesia and Canada Tomato Soup come out. It's a Brazilian and South African guy. Brazilian versus South Africa. We had Mental Projection, really amazing producer from Brazil. We just released his EP. Those two have been like really pushing it, amazing music. So there'll be more coming from them as well. Lante, the young guy I told you about, we're releasing his EP coming out, and his Maidenerism as well. Also part of Groove Drop, which is a Phantom guy from Mexico. We'll do a release for him soon as well. We've got compilations by our artists on the label. So like I was putting all the compilations together. It's a lot of work to do a compilation. It takes a lot of time. It's a lot of networking. It takes a long time to build it. So I said to my artists, why don't you look at a way of networking here, build a compilation yourself, and then find artists that you love and passionate about, and let's make a compilation. So Ana Valeriano, she's making a compilation 2-part 1. It's all Brazilian artists, so that's like 18 tracks she's putting together, so that'll be 2 separate comps. Plastic Visions putting a compilation, and I'm doing one. Nick's from Canada, she's from South Africa, living in Canada, she's doing her second one as well. SwiTcHcaChe from India, he's doing a compilation. Mentalist from Brazil, we're doing an EP from him. Zeg, we just today, actually his EP came out, or yesterday. Doing 2 EPs from him. Priest, South African local guy, we're doing 2 EPs of his, a day and a night one. So just it keeps on coming, going, man. Like I'm just always finding artists that want to work with us, and just putting out music that I feel that suits the label style, and just building more and more connections, you know. It's just a lot of talking to people and finding music. And also it's even our style is defined now, but even when I find artists that have an amazing style of their own, say to them, do you want to write something that can work within our label style? And some guys are even open to that, you know. Ana Valeriano, with her compilation, she's chosen some artists that are more daytime stuff, and I said, but our directions are more this. She's spoken to them, and they're like redoing parts of the tracks or writing a new track that can specific to us, which is quite cool, you know. Like I would never want to disrespect an artist, like say, I don't like your stuff, write this. It's their choice completely, but we also want to put something out that falls into the bracket of what we want to release, you know, which is quite cool, because musicians can write anything, you know, and if they want to write it and like to do something different, then it's opening. Maybe they'll find some cool technique and open a new project and like be like, I love this kind of stuff, you know.
It'll be a cool place to start from a SwiTcHcaChe track that they were busy producing.
Or they work with another artist, do a versus, and then like find they collaborate really well, and then it's like, oh cool, let's make a new project. So sometimes like pushing artists to do something different, and it could trigger something new, you know. Cool. Well, Calvin, as you know, from SwiTcHcaChe, and you can find us on Facebook, obviously. Just type in SwiTcHcaChe with a Z on the end. And you can find us on Bandcamp, where we host all our releases, and obviously on every other portal as well, so with Spotify, Deezer, Tidal, Beatport, Juno, Apple Music, all of that. If you follow our social channels on Instagram and Facebook and Twitter as well, keep updated with all our releases, our artist awareness. I'm doing all the video animation in that as well, so you can be on a lookout for new videos that are being posted. We're going to be doing interviews with artists. We're building the website slowly. It's a lot of work, but I've got a lot of artists and building that myself, so putting that together, and when that's up, and you can check through our Facebook page. And we'll have our podcast on there, our releases on there, interviews, blogs, also not just from us, but from the rest of the psychedelic scene, sharing information from around the world. Yeah,